So for the round punch, we start off with a round bar that's 7.5 inches long, which is 185 millimeters, 3/4 of an inch in diameter. That's 18 millimeters. There's 3 parts to the round punch. We have the hammer end, the main body, and the business end. So the business end could also be called the working end, the hammer end could also be called the struck end. But there's 3 sections to each of these hand tools. So we taper in the hammer end slightly, we leave the main body alone for the round punch, and then we do a long taper, bringing it down to 1/4 of an inch or 6 millimeters at the tip. So to do a round taper, when we did tapers, to do a round taper, when we're hammering it, we make it square, then octagon, and we keep going after all the corners, make it round. So we start off heating up to an orange colour. Tool steel, medium carbon steel, high carbon steel, any of these type steels, you don't want them to go to yellow or they can get damaged internally, the structure of the steel. So keep it an orange heat, so it's going to be slower to forge, and so more steady orange heats then will get the work done. So we're forging the taper here, square, octagon, round, for the hammer end or the struck end of the tool. So now we're starting to do a square taper on the working end or the business end of the bar. So we start at the tip and we work our way back along the body to the main body of the bar. So we keep rotating over and back 90 degrees, and that lets us see what the progress is on both sides of the bar. We just keep working down the tip, doing a little gradual taper back along. So we want to get our tip, remember, down to around 6 millimeters or 1/4 of an inch. So again, I'm staying at square all the time. Square taper, and it has to go right back along the bar. So we want this as long as possible. The more gradual that taper is, the better for using it afterwards. So you saw there the bar is hopping. The bar hops. It means that you're not sitting exactly on the anvil, the flat surface that you're hammering. And sometimes you might do this to correct if you see a little bend in the bar. So just continue along, back up along the main body of the bar. Now you can see there the way the tip is getting quite hot. So the way you position your bar in the fire is very important. So let the tip, let's say, stick out the far side of the fire so that you're only heating in along to the main bar section. Okay, so there's my square taper. And we're going to make that now octagon and then round. So I go after the 4 corners of the square taper. So when I hammer those 4 corners, I'll be getting 8 lines around the bar, being our octagon. And once again, you want to keep all those gaps of each little triangular taper going from the main body down to the tip. They should all be, you want to get them to be all equal to each other. So you'll work your way up and down along each line. The bar may start bending and you'll have to correct that as you go. And you're holding the bar solid by holding the tongs tight into your body. Every time the bar is rotated a little bit there as well, you'll be able to see if it's starting to bend in any direction. So there's the wire brush cleaning any scale so that I can try and get as smooth a surface as I can on the finish for this taper. So now I'm going after the 8 corners and working them to get them to round. So up and down along each line again. So the idea is then that the 8 goes to 16, and then the 16 you'll be going after it, and finally you get to a stage where you're just going around trying to find any little blemish, any little mark. And these little marks are a lot easier to see in the colder, the dull red going to black heats. But remember, in the black you can't be forging, you would be just barely tipping to get rid of any little marks and blemishes. So there's our round punch, and on section 1.12 we'll be doing the heat treatment for the punch.